Will the Utah Jazz end up with the number one overall draft pick in the 2025 NBA Draft? Join the Zone from 3 to 6, Monday, May 12th for the NBA Draft Lottery. The watch party will be at JCW's in Harriman, 5251 Anthem Park Boulevard. Be there. I know I will, from 3 to 4. Lloyd sent out an email. DJ will be on the air 3 to 4. Like a day or two later. Hey, DJ, can you be there Monday? Oh, Lloyd, didn't you already decide that?
You told me where to be, so I'll be there.
And you know why? You know why? Because that's what the money's for. I gave Lloyd a little, gave him a little back. And we had a laugh. And yeah, I'll show up. Because that's what the money's for. It should be one of the top 10 slogans of this show. We get all the drops of me being goofy and PK singing and, me having my Monday morning malaprops.
You saved $600,000?
Yeah. 600,000.
But we need a third, and you got a lot of pages in the computer.
Paycheck is why I live in Utah.
Right. We need a third page, like things we believe,
Yeah.
And one of them, that's what the money's for. Here's another one, and you should just play it over and over because we get sick of saying it. Why? Because they can. Because they can. Why doesn't Aaron Rodgers go to camp? Because he can. Why does Tiger? This starts with, there used to be a thing when there were newspapers and they hit your porch or your driveway. And on Sunday there was this insert parade. And in the inside they always had these celebrity questions. Why does Tiger always date these blonde, leggy supermodels? And answer. Because he can. And then boom, right to the next question. PK and I both saw that. We were laughing. Hilarious. Like, just cut to the chase. Don't sugarcoat it. Don't waste a lot of time. Give me the answer. Because he can. And this is when Tiger's 22, 23 years old. I think it was even pre-Nordegren. His wife, yeah. Because they can. So that's 2 of the 10 that we go to. Follow the money. That'd be 3 of the 10, right? Why? And I think follow the money works for the 2 main stories we've been talking about today. College football playoffs, the new format. It's not official, but I think it's done. 16 teams, 4 automatic bids to the Big Ten, 4 to the SEC. Why are they taking 4? Because they can. Why do they want 4? Follow the money. They're going to play 3 games on championship weekend instead of 1. They're going to pay more money. More November games are going to be mattered. They're not going to fall into the exhibition phase at the end of the year. And those leagues you'll be trying to get into the top 6. And all those games that get you into the top 6 matter. Because then you're playing for an automatic playoff bid. Because 1's going to play 2 and they're both going to be in. And 3's going to play 6. And the winner's in. And 4's going to play 5. They already know you'll watch the conference championship game. Those people will be playing for seeding. But 3 will play 6, 4 will play 5, and they'll be playing for automatic berths. The Big 12 will get 2 games. I suspect the Big 12 won't have a conference title game. It'll be 1 versus 4 and 2 versus 3, and the 2 winners will be in. Which, when you have a 4-way tie like 7-2, must-see TV. Everybody's going to make more money. The Big 10 and the SEC will make more money. And why do they get 4 bids instead of 2? Follow the money. Now, the other story, we're closing in Monday. Will the Jazz move up? Now, there are those of you saying the NBA will never let it happen.
What do you mean move up? They're the...
Well, I mean, it's a lottery. You're right. It's not move up because they have the worst record. But will they get the number 1 pick and will they get Cooper Flagg? And there are people who think, they'll never let Cooper Flagg go to Utah because it's a small market. And I would say the answer to this question I arrived at because I followed the money. I don't think it matters whether you're in a small market or big market. The NBA is flourishing. Playoff ratings are up. And earlier, David Locke was on, and I agree with what he said. Hey, part of the pushback the NBA is getting, the NBA has been politicized. To a certain degree, they did it to themselves, right? Black Lives Matter, in the bubble, all that, right? So, and then to a certain degree, it's the environment, and you get sucked into it no matter what. Like we saw with the Eagles. Do you go to the White House or do you not? Do you golf with the president or not? I mean, you really can't avoid it at some point. And so the NBA, for all the negatives, they take too many three-point shots, guys are hurt too often, not playing enough games. Hey, the TV ratings are up. And they just signed a new TV deal, and the money's like 2.5 times bigger. They've gone from a 9-year, $24 billion to 11 years and $76 billion. And they did it with Russell Westbrook winning an MVP in Oklahoma City, small market, with Giannis winning multiple MVPs in Milwaukee and a championship, and with Denver winning a championship, and the Joker winning multiple MVPs in Denver, medium-sized market. The NBA in the 80s They didn't have as much money. The owners didn't have as much money. The league itself didn't have much money. And they were dependent on L.A. and New York and Boston and Philly. But it's not the 80s anymore. Owners have way more money. They're insulated. Ryan Smith's not running out of money. Larry Miller, the last 10 years he owned the Jazz, was not running out of money. The first 5 or 10 years he owned the Jazz, he might have run out of money. I've heard that from Larry. I've heard that from his family. I've heard that from an employee who's way up in the organization. Larry went all in. It was a gamble that he probably, by his own words, shouldn't have made. But that was the 80s. And Larry ended up with much more wealth, and he had a cushion the last 5 or 10 years he owned the team that he didn't the first 5 or 10 years he owned the team. And Ryan Smith now has a cushion. And there's a salary cap. And the network money is now dwarfing they're still going to sell merch and make money. But the network TV money dwarfs it. It dwarfs the local TV and local streaming money, even though he's still got to go do that. It dwarfs the local radio money. The network TV money insulates them against all kinds of problems. So I don't think they're going to fix it, because the only way they can mess this up is to do something stupid like fixing it. They don't need to. They absolutely don't need to. The Joker, Giannis, Westbrook, Denver, Milwaukee, Oklahoma City proved it beyond a shadow of a doubt, and they've got oodles of money, more than they know what to do with. Rebuild the arena again. Sure, why not? They're not going to run out of money. The NBA's not running out of money. Ryan Smith's not running out of money. The other 29 owners not running out of money. Ballmer's definitely not running out of money. So Ryan gets the question on ESPN. He's on with the punter, Pat McAfee. And it's not Pat, it's one of his guys. And I don't know all the personalities.
They're like producers, but not.
Yeah, but they're kind of part of the group, the tribe, the posse, whatever. I don't know. You know, it's to get more faces, more voices, make the show. Lots of national shows do that. Somebody talking by themselves for 4 hours is not ideal. He says, talking by himself for 4 hours. So here's Ryan. Here's the question. Here's the answer. Go.
Opportunity to get the number 1 pick. Is there any worry that the NBA is going to somehow maybe screw you guys over and you won't have a fair shake winning the lottery because you are Utah, you are a small market, and they maybe want to see Cooper Flagg, go to Washington or something like that with the success of, the Washington Commanders, and the Wizards have been so bad for so long. Like, does that creep into your head at all, or not really? Is it kind of just like, hey, the chips are going to fall how they are and we just have to accept that?
Well, so my head's a little different because I don't believe we're a small market. Like, I look at what we have in Utah and, like, big mammoths outside of our stadium and, like, an airport that you can fly anywhere in the world. Like, we can go anywhere out of Salt Lake. Like, it's crazy. You got a top 3 tech economy. You got 7 million people coming in here to ski. Like, we have nothing in common with small market. The only thing we have in common with it is people don't move to Utah necessarily to live downtown in that urban environment. But you look at Park City, you look at where we are, we have 250,000 college kids within 90 minutes. Like, there is nothing that is resembling. We have the number 1 economy in the country.
What?
With the lowest unemployment. Yeah. And it's been that way. And so we've had a branding problem for a long time.
Now, Ryan's been working on branding pretty much since he bought the team. Sell Utah, sell Utah, sell Utah, promote Utah, promote Utah, promote Utah. He's been super consistent. And it's funny because Danny Ainge talks twice a year. But Ryan, I saw him he just had a press conference, and I got to talk to him afterwards. Hey, anytime you need, call me. And Yak's got the number. We've reached out to him. He's way more accessible than the general manager. He's way more accessible than the players. And we'd have players on after they have big games and they win in the morning. I don't think we'll ever get another Joe Ingles who wants to do it every week for 8 years. That was awesome. And we enjoyed it. You enjoyed it. Hey, Joe enjoyed it. That's why he kept doing it. We're not going to get that. But we would have Utah Mammoth players on. We'd have Utah Jazz players on. And, Clayton Keller has a goal and an assist and they win. You want us to come on the next morning? Our door's open. Most athletes don't want to do that. They're not. It could change Monday. No one's going to play Sunday night. They're done. But you get the point. We'd roll with it at any point. The one person in the organization will come on as Ryan. It's because Ryan wants to sell it. And Ryan doesn't want to just sell it outside of Utah. He wants to sell it inside of Utah. He doesn't want Utahns limiting themselves. Don't we all tell our kids, don't limit yourself? Yeah, you got young kids. Don't you tell them that? You can do whatever you want. What do you want to do? How hard do you want to work? How hard do you want to chase it?
I had that exact conversation with my daughter literally yesterday.
And the only thing is, it could have been education, it could have been sports, it could have been the arts, because I think you got a dancer in the family or a musician.
She's in competitive cheer. So
competitive cheer. Okay. So it doesn't matter.
The conversation was about competitive cheer, though.
Okay, it was about competitive cheer. Right. Don't let other people define you. Don't put limits on you. So Ryan's telling the national audience, he's also telling the local audience. This isn't a small market. Look, that small market 80s thing, it doesn't matter. Indiana may be about to win an NBA championship here. They might pull it off. Now, New York or Boston might pull it off, and, well, we've seen that story before. But now that I've seen Milwaukee do it, now that I've seen Denver do it, Oklahoma City may do it. Multiple small market teams. We'll get into this on Monday, who you're rooting for in the playoffs. And I don't really feel like anybody pumps me up that much right now, nor do I feel anybody. I'm not really rooting, and sometimes I root against people. I'm tired of a team or a player or whatever, and I just don't want to see it anymore. I'm done. I'm over it. I don't feel like that. The NBA, nobody's winning a lot now. They're all passing it around. I mean, the Warriors, if they got a fifth title in the Steph Curry era, that'd be something. But he's hurt, and that doesn't seem possible. Playoff Jimmy would have to do something outrageous. And I think doing that in the West is different than doing it in the East. I mean, I don't want to discredit what he did in the East because it was really cool and it was hard and he pulled it off. But the West has more good teams. And the top 9 teams in the NBA right now in the regular season, 7 of them were in the West and 2 are in the East. Now, maybe the regular season doesn't mean anything. Maybe the Knicks or Pacers will get this done. But right now they're just passing that title around. I'm not worn out on anybody yet. Nor do I think the NBA is worried about where Cooper Flagg goes. The way the title is getting passed around, the way the league is flourishing, why do they need New York and LA? Ratings are up. Clippers and Lakers have already checked out. People are watching. And they're locked in for 11 years of money. They don't need to mess with the conspiracy. I think the chips fall where they may. I think the question is just a matter of luck. And the Jazz are in a position that they just aren't in very often. I mean, since the lottery started, they've been under 30 wins. I think this is just the 3rd time. So, yeah, they've been around 50 years. They've never had the number 1 pick. So they're due from that perspective. But when you've only had 3 seasons where you're under 30 wins, are you really due? And does that have that much to do with it? I mean, the hockey club, all the odds said they should move up 10 spots, and yet they did. And the odds say Cleveland and Orlando shouldn't have hit back-to-back lotteries, drafted number 1, and they did. The odds say Big Vic shouldn't have gone to the Spurs again, but he did. Crazy things happen. And we'll all tune in Monday night. What time does that actually hit, Yak? We decided. It's between 5 and 5:30, right?
Yeah, it's a half-hour show.
Because there's a playoff game at 5:30.
And
we looked it up.
They'll go in reverse order, obviously. So I would imagine by 5:20.
Somewhere between 5:10 and 5:20.
Yeah,
we'll find out.
Yeah.
They're not doing it right out of the gate.
Because they're going
Easy
to reverse
does it.
order. They'll go like the first 7 or so picks.
They've got to do what the NHL did. I love the way the NHL recalibrated odds. Only wish they'd done it more often.
I don't think that NBA's not going to do that.
Well, why is the NHL in front of the NBA? What's going on? The NBA is fat and happy with the $76 billion in TV money.
Bingo.
All-Star game, international tournament, NHL, win. NBA, still got to figure it out.
Gary Bettman's on top of this.
Gary Bettman. Let's put the odds up for let's hype it up. Let's go.
Well, and the best part about that is they had the guy literally stand there like, hey, we are doing this live. This is how it goes down.
Well, and ESPN's doing their own thing because the host, was it Buccigross?
Yeah, John Bucci, yeah.
John Buccigross is like, oh, somebody just moved. Now, he's not supposed to say Utah Mammoth, but we all knew. Everybody knows. All right, we'll let the accountants guarantee it. But Bucci's over there. I already know who it is. You know who it is. Wink, wink. Let's wait for the suits to figure it out. And then they got in the plug for the draft sponsor because everybody's making money all the time. Is the NFL just going to hang big banners on the Washington Monument in Congress so they can get their sponsors up there? Just going to have some light beer ad draped on some
they'll
tifo?
Have multiple buildings, and they'll be temporarily set up
what
on the
What are they going to do when they move the draft to the mall?
They'll have like a floating...
They could do something classy like a shell or something.
They're going to have a floating advertisement in the national pool out there.
They won't actually drape something on the Capitol. That'll be AI.
Yeah,
It'll
probably.
be,
it'll be overlaid.
Because they do that on the floor during NBA games
Correct,
and during
yeah.
soccer games on the grass
They'll do it
fields.
with hockey,
They have the app.
hockey as well, yeah.
Hockey's doing it too, yeah. And every once in a while, someone runs or skates over, and you're like, whoa, what just happened?
Well, have you also seen the hockey ones? They've actually done it with the boards as well.
Yes, yeah, you see that on TV versus when you're at the games. And because of the radio studio, like I can literally be sitting there watching the game and then walk back in there like, hey, look, all the ads are different. Someone repainted the boards. And why? Why does that happen, Yak? When one of the top 10 drops. Follow the money. That's why it happens.
Breaking news.
That drops thing, I've got 3 of the 10. When PK gets back, we need the list, we tape them, and then you just play them. We just cue you, and bang, you drop them right in there. I mean, you don't want to do it. It's extra money, you know? But you know what, Yak? You know why you'll do it?
That's what the money's for.
That's what the money's for. See? This is really going to work. I'm onto a thing here. All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. When we come back, after the break or right now? Okay. Against all odds, we got 10 minutes with Pablo Mastroeni, and Jake's going to give him a call, and we're going to talk soccer with Pablo. We're not going to get relaxed, thoughtful Pablo. Pablo doesn't just blow this stuff off for no reason. He's very good at selling the team and selling the product. So that means something was up. And now we're going to get intense, Pablo. So this ought to be fun. RSL at Dallas, playing 3 games in a week here. It's a busy stretch, and they've got to stay connected to the middle of the West. I mean, it's a long season. There's a lot of parity and stuff happens. DJ PK, and we're joined now by Pablo Mastroeni, RSL head coach. And I say PK because I'm supposed to, but he's actually on vacation today. So you just got me, Pablo. I'm flying solo, no co-pilot.
Where is he golfing or?
Traveling and then golfing. Yes, he's going where it's hot, and he's lamenting how hot it is. But he's got family, and yeah. So, all right, Pablo, is it getting hot for you? This is more losing than you used to. You're a winner. You went to 2 World Cups. You went to a World Cup quarterfinal. You captained a championship team in Colorado. This team has gotten more points every year you've coached it, and now they're 4-7. So on some level, this has to suck.
Yeah, it definitely sucks. But again, I think I'm looking at performances, and I feel really positive about the direction that we're moving in. Obviously, getting Willie Gata is going to help our group, and Johnny Russell, I expect to do the same when he gets up to full fitness. And so, again, I think these were players and levels of experience that we were missing in the first set of games. So again, just making course correcting as we go to try to put ourselves in the best position to be successful. But the overall run of play between the 2 boxes, I thought, I think in the last 5-6 games we've been doing really well. And as you know, in sports, like the one thing you can't control is results. You look at this Kansas City LA game where Kansas City ends up winning without taking a shot. And so that's how difficult it is to get results. So if we can continue to perform at a very high level and then capitalize inside the box, I feel like we're, a couple performances from breaking out. So that's the way I'm looking at things.
There is a phrase in water skiing, and I don't know if you can use it because I don't imagine most of your players have any experience water skiing. Maybe they do. I don't know. But there's a phrase in water skiing, don't let go of the rope. When you let go of the rope, it's all over, right? So Major League Soccer, there's a lot of parity. There's a salary cap, and every year you look, and it seems like with 5-10 teams to go, there's a bunch of teams, and there's very little separation from 3rd to 11th place. And we routinely see teams that finish 3rd, 4th in the MLS Cup final. So there's a ton of parity. So if they don't let go of the rope, then there will be a chance down the season. I like what you said about Agata, because I watched all his goals, and he scores so many goals inside the 6-yard box. And watching that Vancouver game, you were going down the right side, not you individually, but you as a team. We're going down the right side, and a couple things happened. One, the 18-year-old Xavier Gozo, who's from Eagle Mountain, who is literally comparing with Jake Hatch, like wherever they go to get swig or something that he probably shouldn't be drinking, because he grew up a couple miles away from where Jake lives. So he's literally a Utah kid. And he set up one play, and another time he sent the ball in and the header went wide. But there was a chance where I think it was Piol. It looked like he almost stepped over the top of the box, 2 yards in front of the open goal. I don't know how you didn't score. And Agata's goals, like that's literally what he does. If you're looking for someone to hit a banger from 18 yards out, he's not your guy. If you're looking for someone 6 yards in, he is your guy. How did that not turn into a goal, and will Agata fix it?
Yeah, I think that's the whole thing. I think, again, this is where I think experience comes in, is you're just seeing that rep so many times. And the other part, too, is it's the movement that happens that occurs before the ball's crossed. In other words, there's a game going on between the forward and the center back where you're jockeying for position. And so we call it double movements, where you go forward to go back, or you go back to go forward. So you're playing a cat and mouse game with the center back, knowing that the ball is going to get played behind the back line. And so you're always trying to think about how to beat the player to that line, right? And I think Willie does that exceptionally well. And like you said, scored a ton of goals in that position. And this year, we've gotten to those spots over and over again. But what we haven't been able to do is capitalize, because we haven't had those players in those positions. So, I think Willie's going to bring a lot to our group. He'll be starting this weekend, which is pretty exciting, and we'll continue to ramp him up from a physical perspective to be able to last 90 minutes.
Occasionally I have fans ask me what frustrates me about RSL, and the answer is never what people expect. I'm like, it's the constant change with the head coach, the GM, and the owner. It's basically once a year for more than a decade, basically since Jason left in 2013, but maybe going back to when Checkets did. It's basically once a year, and you can't get everybody on the same page. Now, I know you don't want to go into this, but I got to drag you into it a little bit. So you have the most goals you ever scored last year, and you have the most points ever. And it's not lost that you had 5 attacking players, and 2 of them were performing off the charts good. 2 were performing very well. And another guy didn't have the stats, but was also clearly contributing, and not everybody can score every trip down the field, so you just live with that, right? Now, 4 of those 5 guys are gone. Anderson Julio's gone. Chicho's gone. Crooks, who didn't have the numbers but still did a lot of stuff right, he's gone. And obviously, you sold an explosive young player in Gomez. So it's Diego Luna. I'm looking at the other guys, and I'm thinking, yes, you win through development, but you got to bring new people in. And the old owners are selling, keep expenses down, get revenue up, sell the team for as much as possible. Anybody who's been around businesses, I've worked for people who've sold, I know what they're doing when they do it. My radio stations and TV stations have been sold. I've seen it. So I get why you didn't bring in guys. I didn't get it in November and December, but when it became obvious the team was getting sold, I'm like, oh, well, that's why they didn't make any moves. But I've also seen, because of the multiple sales here, how quickly do you get trust and alignment between a coach, a GM, the front office, the ownership, so that someone can go out and write an $8 or $10 million check. You could have had Chicho a year earlier, but that ownership under Blitzer was pretty new, and I'm not sure they trusted you guys. Why should we spend our hard-earned money? Are we sure you're right? How quickly can you get that alignment with the Millers? Because I know they, for the sake of the season, they should spend in the summer window, but until they have that alignment and that trust, why would they?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question. I think it takes time to trust. I think, the Millers are relatively new to soccer, so they're all on board and learning and understanding the league and all the different permutations of the salary cap and DB players, and they're so invested. And my feeling in my few interactions is that they want to make Utah proud. And I think going back to the Jazz teams that they had, they were special teams. And, I think having a local ownership group is really, really important. And as far as how long the time takes, the next window is obviously the summer window. And when we've been in this place before where, you can make an impact signing, but it might not reap, the fruit until the following year because there's such a short runway to the end of the season. But I think, we've been, to your point, there's been a lot of shifting and moving, and it's been really difficult to understand. Like, from my chair, I don't know what's going on above me, like as far as the ownership stuff and why we can't get players and these kind of things and why these players left. Like, that's all beyond me. And so what I try to do, DJ, is just work with the players that we have, and instead of wasting my energy on things that are beyond my control, is just These are the guys in the building. And so I think, from just the club perspective, as far as, myself and Kurt and Jason and Tony, we're absolutely aligned. And it's just now connecting ourselves with ownership who have been involved in the ownership meetings and ready to learn and ready to, invest in the group. So I'm optimistic, and I'm hoping this summer window, we have a clear, we're clear about what we need, and we're all aligned from top to bottom as far as getting a player or two in that can, help us down the stretch.
Well, I do expect them at some point, hopefully in the summer, but at some point I expect them to pay big money for a couple players. I also think that in a salary cap league, you can't pay big money for everybody, and that winning through development is going to continue to be a thing. So I think what's really urgent now, even if there isn't enough winning going on and people are frustrated, and I get that, and the reason you've got to stay focused is, in my book, you've got to turn Agata into Anderson Julio. He's already got some talent, and he's mid-20s, right? But he's got to fit with a group, and timing is critical. I figured the reason Peel missed that ball is it happened so fast he couldn't react quite quickly enough. He saw it, but he didn't see it in time, right?
Correct.
And that Gozo, as a young player, it's like watching planes land at an airport. And in the Salt Lake Valley, we've all seen it. They just come in one after another, right? If you're developing these young players, you can't have a player peak like Gomez and then immediately plug in a guy who's on the tarmac and hasn't even started taxiing yet. Right?
Correct.
You need him to pick up speed. So even if the results aren't there, Gozo has to get better so he can be the next Gomez. And I see flashes of it, but I'm betting the front office always wants, because this is just the way sports works, and I don't think your club is going to be different. The front office always wants to play those guys, and the coach is like, I get judged on winning, and you can't convince me the rookie's going to win, said every coach in football, basketball, soccer, forever. Yeah. That's what coaches say. Yeah. So I'm thinking that's the push-pull that's going on, but I really think even if you don't win in this next month or two, Agata and Gozo's development is critical. These training sessions and these games can't be wasted. Is that the pressure you put on yourself? Is that your job this month?
Absolutely right. I think it's improving. Whilst we might not be the complete roster at the moment, it's really how do you make incremental gains? And again, I think for young players, one of the things I always ask myself, DJ, is, okay, so if he's meant to set up goals and create assists, that's the focus, right? That's the 80% of training. But then the other part is in games, how is Gozo helping us win? And the way he's helping us, compete the right way to put ourselves in position to win is he's dogged in his determination to win the ball back higher up the field. And I think that's an exceptional quality to bring to the team whilst learning his craft of creating goal scoring, continuing to create goal scoring opportunities and score himself. So he's on the right path. He's, this is for him, the best I've seen him play in the last few years. I think this is his time. And so, if we have Willie in the box receiving these opportunities and finish him, you'll see that relationship and you'll see those two individual players really rise. And that's the aim for the next few months.
Gozo was really mad when Katranis' header went wide. On the wide shot on TV, you could see him throw his arms. And I thought two things. I thought, number one, he wants it really bad, and I love that. I love that. And he also can't show up veterans like that, and I got to tell him afterwards, don't do that. I love that you did it. Don't do it again. Is that what you told him?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I think the hardest thing for younger players is to keep stay humble, and humility is an important part. And I think the other part too is, we have a couple experienced guys in Jay Glad and Rafa who do a fantastic job of making sure these younger players understand, that it's a long journey and it's, you don't show up teammates. And, but Gozo is a quick learner. He's a competitor. And at this moment, we need more guys to compete at the same level that Gozo's competing.
All right. Well, tell him that Yock still wants to meet him at Swig, even though he did that. Pablo, I know you got to run. It's a travel day and you got training and all that. Thanks for the time. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you again. Good luck in Dallas.
Thanks, DJ. Appreciate it, bud.
Pablo Mastroeni, RSL head coach. All right, they're my theories. And, he buys some of them and he doesn't buy others and he buys some in part. I guess I should have anticipated that, shouldn't I, Yock? Nothing unusual there. Hey, Yock, you want to go to break now? Is this the latest we've ever been going to break?
No, we've done worse.
Come on, Yak. Throw me a bone, man.
No, we've done worse. Trust me.
All right, well, I didn't do that one either. That's just the way things broke. All right, we're back with everything you missed in this show. If you didn't hear Draymond Green go off, we'll get to that coming up. Stay with us.
The Utah Jazz select.
Do you believe in karma? Well, we here at the KSL Sports Zone absolutely believe in creating good vibes for the Utah Jazz in their hopes of securing the #1 pick in the NBA Draft Lottery. Go to KSLSports.com to donate $2 to Intermountain Primary Children's Hospital.
Wait, why $2? And isn't that the jersey number of...
Bob, it's just a random number, okay? Just stick to the copy.
It's a real two-for-one. Your donation will help Intermountain Primary Children's Hospital and help the Utah Jazz capture the Good Karma flag in their hopes of recouping winning basketball in Utah.
Fingers crossed, guys.
Donate your $2 right now at KSLSports.com.
I look like the angry black man. I'm not an angry black man. I'm a very successful, educated black man with a great family. And I'm great at basketball. I'm great at what I do. The agenda to try to keep making me look like an angry black man is crazy. I'm sick of it. It's ridiculous.
9 a.m. Slacker Radio Headlines brought to you by Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan Wealth today, your local trusted financial fiduciary, 801-899-7600, or visit their website at TrajanWealth.com. That was Draymond Green. Warriors lose to Minnesota, as you might expect. That series now 1-1. Warriors didn't have Steph Curry. Ant-Man left with a sprained ankle, came back. But then the postgame from a guy who got another tech and a guy who honestly could have gotten a second tech and could have gotten kicked out of the game. Seemed like there were multiple opportunities, but the refs just didn't see what everyone else saw or didn't hear what everyone else heard. Didn't give him a second tick.
His leash is
pretty
uncomparable.
Long, right? Yeah, right? And so he goes in and he says, I'm not an angry black man. I'm everything else, right? You are educated, and you may well be a great family man. And I can guarantee you, each and every listener, I've been told by someone who had a kid play for the Warriors that Draymond was great to the rookie. And the rookie was not African-American. And Draymond was great to him. Many things can be true at the same time. I think he's going to have a great career in TV. I think he's going to work for a long time and make a lot of money when he's done playing because he is a great speaker. He does have a ton of charisma and energy. And quite frankly, he's going to say things in the media that irritate future players the same way this storyline irritates him. The shoe's going to be on the other foot in 10 years. I think that's obvious. You know, Barkley's going to quit at some point, and Draymond is clearly being groomed to join that show, which isn't ending. It's being licensed to ESPN. Turner's out of basketball, but ESPN's never gotten their studio show right, and Turner doesn't have games to put a studio show around, so Turner's licensing the show. They're going to keep doing it because they know how to do it, and ESPN's going to pay them for it and put it on, and Draymond's going to be on that. So as far as the angry thing, and Draymond, I agree with you on all these other things, and I know you were a great teammate to a guy you didn't have to be a great teammate to. People have spoken very highly, and it was off the record. If they want to say it on a record, they can say it on a record. I'll leave it off the record because that's where they said it. They'll speak for themselves if they want to. But they had so much praise for Draymond. But multiple things can be true. You are angry. You are. You smashed a teammate in the face at practice. You're not supposed to do that. You choked out Gobert during a game. You got yourself kicked out of Game 5 of the NBA Finals. You should have been there. I think if you'd been there, your team would have won 4 NBA titles in a row and would have dwarfed what Shaq and Kobe did, would have one-upped them, would have one-upped what Jordan did, although he did it twice, so he's still MJ, so he still got you there. 4 in a row would have been incredible, but you got kicked out of Game 5, and you let Steph down, and you let down Steve Kerr, and you let down the Warrior fan base. You did. So you are angry too often, too many times. So don't give me the angry black man thing. If you can come up with another word for angry, but I got you getting kicked out of the big game, smashing the teammate in the face of practice, and choking out Gobert. So I don't know. I don't know what other word. Give me another word other than angry. But all these other things are true. He can be a good family dude.
Yeah,
They traded the teammate. They didn't trade him.
Yeah.
Quit getting your face in the way of Draymond's fist.
Hey,
Draymond is a great teammate, and he is a winner, and they wouldn't have the titles without him.
Jordan Poole, you're going to Washington.
You're
Have
done,
fun.
Jordan.
Bye.
What happened? You got to quit hitting his fist with your face. One of you has to go, and he's super talented, so it's you.
And I think the one thing that annoys, NBA fans, because you're right, I think the other things you mentioned that can be true.
And they are.
But yes, but his ability to spin everything to where he's the victim.
Is why he's going to end up on TV spinning stuff in 10 years.
And I said
in 10 years, a player's going to be furious with him just like Barkley because they'll say things.
Or Shaq.
And now Jordan won't talk to Barkley because Barkley said Jordan was a terrible owner.
Yeah.
Well, why'd Barkley say it? Because he's a terrible owner.
He's perfect in the spin cycle, baby. Let's go. Like, he's mastered that ability.
He really has. So, bravo. Bravo. There you go. Yock, before I go, I want your mic open. I want you to go to Twitter/X, and I want you to go to my most recent post. I just quote tweeted something. Leave your mic open, and just whatever exclamation comes to mind that the FCC doesn't mind when you see the video. Watch what happens.
So this is the most recent one? Then?
The most recent one. I posted it a minute ago. It started segment.
Oh, jeez.
Right? Everyone has to see that. Am I right?
That's awesome.
Go to the feed. Leave your comments. If you are a football fan, if you like to watch guys get checked into the boards in hockey, if you like the hard intentional foul to stop an NBA fast break, if you want to see a quarterback hit from the blind side, if you want to see Hans Olsen and some lineman collide and somebody get depleted, this is your moment, but it's in the ocean. And no matter what it is, you can't believe what it is unless you go see it.
I've been on the side of that.
And I want you to be
times.
surprised. And for those of you who aren't on Twitter and want to know what it is, stick around after the break and we'll describe it and we'll tell you more about it. But I want to give people 4 or 5 minutes here to be surprised when they see the video. Because Yock knew it was going to be something, but you didn't know it was going to be that, did you, Yock? And on a scale of 1 to 10, was that at least an 8?
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That was pretty good. All right, we'll talk about it on the other side. Your feedback next. Stay with us.
And it's all over almost here.
Don't go nowhere.
Time for your feedback. DJ and PK. Matty Ice, shout out to the MJB in the Morning Sports Talk Radio Show. That's when I started listening to local sports talk radio. Welcome to the late 90s. 3-4 years maybe? I don't know. I haven't had a chance to look yet, but Gordon texted me this morning, and he doesn't usually, but he texted me and said in his most recent column, it's about the Jazz, the number 1 pick, and there's a line in there, specifically, was it for me or for me and PK? I can't remember if you and PK have to read it. Just posted. There's one line I put in there just for you. So it could be singular or plural. I'll have to see what the line is. You can check that out. Maybe you can figure out what that Easter egg is. I'll let you know if I figure it out. We got to talk about the video. So some of you have seen it by now. I've retweeted it. Go to my Twitter feed. So the video is from the ocean, and it's a big hit. There's a guy out there, and he's parasailing. He's got the board going, and it's the sail is hinged, and you pull it up, and then you catch the wind and you skim along the surface of the ocean. So the dude's in his wetsuit. He's out in the ocean, and I can't really tell where. He's got the camera on it, and all of a sudden, breaching and coming up and hitting him is a whale. And you can't tell how big. What do you think? 15, 20-foot long whale, Yock? Best guess from a limited view?
Oh, absolutely.
So that whale's got to be 3 times length, right? And then I don't know how much that is. Is that a 2-ton whale? I don't know. But he has no idea, and he gets blasted. And all of a sudden, there's water all over the lens, and so you just have a quick second when you see it. You have to watch it a few times to see what's going on. And I don't know if the whale knew what he was doing and played with him. I mean, plenty of people are out there doing it, so whales have probably seen it before. Or maybe he thought it was a seal or a dolphin, and you know how the whales will come up and hit him and like knock him unconscious and then go kill him and eat him. I don't know if he's doing that. The guy didn't get attacked. He looks into his camera and he's okay. He says, I just got hit by a whale. A remarkably analytical G-rated response for that having just happened. It's an awesome video. Looks like a quarterback getting decleated on a blindside hit. Go check that out. All right. Feedback this morning. Our topics. Yock, you were talking about NFL owners and socialism this morning.
Yeah,
we were talking capitalism.
Yeah,
the owners made their money as
costs,
capitalists.
but privatize the rewards.
Wild turkey. Hey, David DJ James. Yock has always been a closet socialist. Comrade Yock.
Hello, comrade.
And you tweeted back at him, hey, comrade, with a dog with sunglasses and a rotating orange and gold star behind him. And he came back with Yells and Bernie. And it has Bernie wagging his finger and stepping away from a microphone. All right, well, you two continue that. Let me know how that goes. We've got a lot of reaction coming to the news that the Power 4 college football commissioners met, and they are talking about a 16-team playoff for the 2026 season. 4 bids automatic to the Big Ten, 4 more to the SEC, 2 for the ACC and Big 12, 1 for the G5, 3 at large, and Notre Dame ought to be able to get one of those 3 at large at least 7 years out of 10, and maybe more often than that. How's that going over? Tony, honestly, college football is becoming a joke. It's more about the money than it is about watching great games with all teams. They should just go to an NFL-style playoff system. Well, they will, Tony. I believe they will. I believe this is a step towards it, and they believe they're creating more great games with teams. It's all about getting the marquee matchups. And a lot of times that means brand names, even if USC turns out to be a 5-7 team. But by doing this, they think on that first Saturday in December, instead of having one Big Ten title game, they're going to have 3 games matching the top 6 teams. 4 teams in 2 of those games will be playing for automatic playoff berths, and they think you'll watch. And the SEC at the same time will have the same format. 1 versus 2 for the championship. Both of them get in the playoff. 3 versus 6. And the 4th place team playing the 5th place team. With 2 more games there for automatic playoffs. And they think you'll watch. And I don't know what the Big 12 will do. I suspect they'll go away from their championship game and have 1 versus 4 and 2 versus 3. Which, with all these ties, these are going to be high-stakes games. Last year, there were 6 teams at 5-3 in the SEC. Off last year's standings, 3 of them would have had to be left out. 3 of them would have got in and would have been playing in one of these one-game playoffs versus each other versus a 6-2 team. It would have been compelling. It would have gotten huge ratings. It is about the money, and they're inching towards an NFL-style playoff system, and it's going to ultimately take them 30 years to embrace it. Gordon, like we have a voice in the matter. The Big Ten and the SEC are running the show anyway. Fact, Gordon. Not much of a voice, and they are running the show. Matthew, just do Big Ten and SEC and call it. Well, that's where we're going, Matthew, but I don't think we're going there until the 2030s. But I do think we're going there. This is a bridge to that, I do believe, for the rest of this decade. All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. We're out of time. Jake and Ben are next. Have a good weekend. We'll see you back here Monday on The Zone.